What's going on, folks? And what's going on, my legendary people? My name is David. Woo! And I'm your host of the legendary podcast. You know, I'm going to stutter a little bit today in this episode. I'm not even going to say stutter. Maybe I'm going to make a couple of mistakes because we have a episode that we are going to be talking about none other than something that I've enjoyed. That, how can I say to you? I got stories. And if one thing that I got story is my love of ice-cold beer here. And it's beers, and, But now I want to kind of more specific because, my beer expertise, I've drank over 500 different type of beers. Right now I'm having a nice little pumpkin ale beer, Elysian night out. Ooh, wait. Oh. Pumpkin ale, you know what I mean? We'll be having a nice cold beer. And I want people out there, hey, listen, if you're not a beer fan, by all means, listen to my podcast. A lot of times that people who are listening to my podcast, people around the world, and people do, hey, we have enjoyed that beer. Beer is kind of like relationships where, hey, you remember that first time that, had that nice cold beer? Was it a stadium, a bar, sneak in from your parents when you was young, high school? Where? Talk to me. You got to hit that like, comment, all that good stuff. And because we have a beer and I love beer and I tasted over 500 beers, I said to myself, maybe I'll do a little short one more specifically for my ghetto people out there in the hood. Especially, growing up in the buggy down Bronx. Let's go. We're talking about more. See, I tell you, I'm going to get a little bit how can I say, tongue twisted because I am drinking a beer, but we're going to be talking about malt liquor. And malt liquor, basically, my 40s, my deuce, which is the 22 ounce. It's those beers that are cheap, but they come in abundance. But you know what? When the money was not right, when we was on a budget, those Saturdays, Sundays, back then, my football Sundays, when I was a young man, you know what? All I needed was one piece of chicken and 3 more malt liquor 40 ounce. And that's all, And because of the malt liquor, the 40 ounce, we're going to be talking about malt liquor and just, give a list of beers that I drank. If you are listening to somewhere, not New York City, that you might not, let's say some of the beers that I've going to mention, if you have a malt liquor, just hit that comment section and talk about, all that beer, one for the homies. Hey, don't drop that drop, just a little bit of sud on the floor, and that's it. Let's call it a night. But let's get on with the show. Once again, hit the like, comment, feel free to share. I'm all over. I'm the YouTube. I'm on T-Goose TV. Once again, T-Goose TV. My people's out there. That's where I'm at. Independent little network going on. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of them are going to appreciate, oh, look at this. This is my boy, D-constructingTopics podcast, talking about beers. Now I want to drink a beer. Now I want to drink a malt liquor. But now we got a little episode of malt liquor. Once again, if you ever in New York City, gone down to a bodega, money's tight, go to the beer section, you might want to do Coronas. You might want to do Modelo. I think I prefer Modelo. But when the money is tight, you do no more other than malt liquor. And one of the malt liquors that we got there, and one of the more underrated beers, if it's cold, is Colt 45. And growing up in the 80s, I remember there was a Billy D. Williams, the beautiful Billy D. Williams, beautiful black brother actor. And he was smooth. And who else to get you to drink something that's going to be like, bleh? Then I'm not going to go on Colt 45 because, again, for me, Colt 45, the double malt liquor, for those out there, they already know you got that Colt 45. You can't miss it. And because you have Billy D. Williams on the cover, you already know you had to drink that. And if you keep it cold, it's very underrated and, underrated. And it's 5.6. And I think that if you do, and, when I was doing a little research on this episode, because I basically wanted to kind of see what people think. Because remember, even though malt liquor, for some reason, people think that's like a black culture kind of poverty. It is. Puerto Ricans drank it. When you young, money is tight. When you in college, for those in that, that applies. Then basically malt liquor was that thing. Again, when you on your late teens, early 20s, malt liquor, if you enjoy drinking, was that thing. And I remember me growing up, right? Let's say, I'm trying to think, early 2000s. I kid you not, for two people. I kid you not. I'm going to be straight up. And, shout out to my brother in arms. You already know who he is. We spent a lot of times drinking more liquor, that's for sure. I'm a little bit older than him, and I, for the most part, I always had a head start on him in regards to certain things. And, for $20, I kid you not, we could buy food, and we could buy drinks, and we could buy whatever in between. Hey, listen, a pack of cigarettes, whatever. So Colt 45 would have been one of those that's there. There's one that's called Country Club Malt Liquor. Country Club has the white letters. I might have come across, now keep in mind this, with malt liquor. They mostly come in these, what they call 40 ounce. Now, if you grab what is a 40 ounce, you're looking about half a 6-pack, right? Because for the most part, a 6-pack, each bottle is 12 ounces. So, yeah, you're looking about 3.5, right? So if you buy two 40s, obviously, with two people, you're going to do, definitely going to be more than a 6-pack. But you do three, hey, you already are. We going crazy. We going bananas. But country malt liquor is one of those ones that, again, I might have tasted. And if it did, once again, in terms of malt liquor, even though malt liquor was a cheap thing, because me growing up, I remember one of the ones that I drank, obviously, Ides with the I, Snoop Dogg, commercials and all. I remember that 40 ounce was $1.89. Now, in the context of why people gravitated, keep in mind is this. Even at that time, if I grab a 6-pack of let's say, Budweiser, it would have been like about $5 or $6, right? For 6 Budweiser cans or bottles, 12 ounce. So for $6, if you could buy three 40 ounce, you're drinking just about more than a 6-pack, obviously. So that's why more liquor became a thing for those people in the hood, especially those people that didn't have the means, because you get a bang for your buck. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, you want to hurt your liver? It don't matter whether you're drinking more liquor, Budweiser, or something more fancy or something more crafty like Sam Adams. I got a couple of dollars to spend. I got too many, but hey, listen, that's the one. You got a Hurricane High Gravity. I might have drank Hurricane. This one is a 25 ounce. But why is it called high gravity? Because it's 8% alcohol. Now, keep in mind is this. Because I'm a beer connoisseur, and I've tasted over 500 different beers. For some reason, sometimes I like to aim at those high bottom alcohol, the 6.5s and so on. And for me, I always thought that for the most part, 40s were 5%, 5.5. But once in a while, they was thinking the 8%, and that's why sometimes you might see in the hood, you might see people that you might think that they were crackheads, but yet they was only drinking 40s. Then that's the answer to that. There's 8%, 9% 40s. You know what I mean? But me, that was not my thing. My thing is I'm just going to go for what I know. And again, St. Ides and Colt 45 is probably my main two. OE was another one. OE English 800. Let's go. Again, O English had different ones where 5.9% alcohol. I can see why, because you got to keep in mind, since these are 40 ounce and you drinking that volume, it's like a little keg, like blip, 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 blip. You know what I mean? To 7.5. That's OE. Ooh. So I take it that, the OE 800, you know what I mean? Oh my. That's another one now. English is weird because I get more consistent with Colt 45. Hit the like button, comment if you hit me with a little way, man, with that situation, because OE is old school, but OE was a little bit inconsistent. And sometimes I like to say that it's more inconsistent on the bodega owner, how they fridge and how they stock these things. You know what I mean? Colt 45 was more of the consistent, more of the better tasting beer out of all of them. But OE, hey, listen, it had his thing. It has something going on. Now, I'll remember with OE, is that they had a 64 ounce with a handle, and it was $3.25, and there was 3 people drinking, with little cups, and I kid you not, I was twisted. And I don't even think that that's another thing too, but these OEs or more liquor. See, you're not gonna get that with alcohol. If you decide to like don't want to drink anymore and you throw it away, you're not gonna feel guilty. You know what I mean? You see, even if you buy cheap liquor and you throw away, like let's say a bottle of Georgia, if you throw out, I don't want to drink anymore, Georgia is disgusting. But hey, you're gonna feel a little, damn it, man. You know what? I should not have done that. But you know what? I'd be straight up with more liquor. If you leave half of the bottle, yeah, you ain't mad at yourself, man, because you're gonna wake up the next day like, geez, what the hell happened? If I kept on drinking that other half, I would have been gone. You know what I mean? You got Still Reserve 211 high gravity. You got 2 Still Reserve. Shout out to a couple of my peoples out there. I come to the Andrew Rivera show. He does the Still Reserve. I didn't grow up with that one, but there's those ones that have like the 5% and 8%. So high gravity, Still Reserve by all means. I've drank it before. Again, not used to the flavor, so it's one of those things. I don't see myself drinking it again. Maybe one day I'll do a show, another beer show, more liquor on video, and maybe I'll do that thing. But will not be in my list. Mickey's. I remember Mickey's malt liquor growing up when I was little. People that I was surrounded would be drinking this. When I grew up, I didn't drink it. So I guess it's one of those things that, either Mickey's or something like that. Because I think that's the one that had something under the cap. So that's why people remember that it had these puzzles under the cap. You know what I mean? This is back then. Back in the 80s, when there's no internet, you don't know the answer. I don't think there was a way to know the answer. I don't know. King Cobra. King Cobra, I don't know. I'll taste the King Cobra. Now, again, I'm going to go and say is this. Even though more liquor is cheap, there's some of them that were like example, I remember the San Ides going back was like $1.89. Then the Colt 45 was like $2.25, $2.50. So now, dollars and cents here. If you're growing up in the hood, you're very limited to what you got. It doesn't matter if it's 10, 20, 30 cents. If you don't got them, you don't got them. What can you do? So you resort into like the San Ides and the King Cobra. Now, King Cobra, again, it's one of those things, 6% alcohol. Ugh, I don't know. Now, a lot of those people were in the hood, we call the crackheads. A lot of them, they drank King Cobra, And even if I seen what I seen, but even those that might look like, hey, listen, they probably taking drugs. Sometimes what it is that they drinking these King Cobras all day. By the time it's nighttime, you'll be like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? But once again, King Cobra is that beer. Again, I don't see that I would buy that. Maybe again, I'll do another beer episode and video where I'll be tasting these different old school beers. But hey, and just a heads up, drink responsible. And listen to this responsible. I'm not telling you go out there and drink, but hey, do your thing. You know what I mean? Molson Triple X. Even Molson, again, Molson Triple X, that means that there's more liquor, the percentage of liquor. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good, But again, I didn't grow up with Molson. I knew people that drank Molson, and I'm not that type of person that drank Molson. Ooh, yeah. Natty Daddy, it's one of those things I don't remember being that thing. Because again, if you go to the store, there's always the same Colt 45, OE, and San Ides. And I think that the Colt 45 was more on the top shelf versus the San Ides. That's why maybe it tastes a little bit. But the Natty Daddies, I don't know. They were high in alcohol. Once again, that's why they were cheaper than some other, how can I say, more liquor. And they actually came in like a little bigger cans, like 25, 26 ounce. That's another thing too, that people gravitated to that. Like instead of buying a 40 ounce, if I could buy 225, which equals 50 ounce at a lesser price, guess what I'm going to do? Do the math. You know what I mean? Natty Daddy. There's other one. I've heard about this one. It's called Red Horse. And that's self-explanatory. I don't think I had that before. But I might have heard something, Red Horse. You had Crazy Horse, obviously. But it's not my type of tea. Not the ones that are out there. Now, I do remember a couple of other ones. Valentine. Valentine was one that it was very familiar with many folks out there. And, St. Ides. St. Ides, I believe, was like one of the ones that, because of being lesser than the other ones, it's one of the ones that I tasted it in, St. Ides. Damn. I had good times with St. Ides, but St. Ides, yeah, St. Ides is St. Ides, bro. I mean, if you drink St. Ides, God bless your soul. But it was a little bit more money than, let's say, King Cobra, and a little bit less than the other one. So, shout out to St. Ides. Hey, if you remember any other beers, you got the Budweisers. Oh, before you got the Budweiser. You got some of the big dogs, or more of the top dogs, name brand. Budweiser, I think that if I consume 3 to 5%, and probably even less than that, of Budweiser in my life, I think it's a little bit too much. I'm not one to gravitate to these big companies or, just regular casual beers, because I'm a craft beer type of person. And even, let's say, when it comes to 40s, now there was one time that I was drinking Coors Light. Now, my understanding, Coors Light was like 4.5% alcohol, 5% alcohol. And the price was there because, even though these were bigger companies, they still priced the 40s at a cheaper beer. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. Because, Malt Liquor's like the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, And Coors Light, I remember drinking Coors Light for a while, a long time ago. And I always used to get these two bottles, 40s. I mean, it's 80 ounce. Ooh. I kid you not. I remember I used to drink the first bottle. I shucked it like it was nothing. I remember on the second one, halfway, hey, different story. You know what I mean? But once again, talk to me. Let me know what you was drinking, what kind of 40s you was drinking. If I did forget anything of that nature, hit me up, hit the comment. You already know. Just please drink responsibly. Do your thing. Go out there. Just be careful what you drink. Cut down your drinking if you have to or if you must. And I do recommend. But it's one thing that, hey, listen, we making it happen for sure. And we out of here. Once again, hit the like, share. We got a legendary podcast. And this beautiful podcast, we doing it all. We chopping it up. And today was Malt Liquor. Next time, we're saving the world. Let's make it happen. I'm out. Peace.